We're recording! Hi!
Hello.
Welcome to Precarious Pixels. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Bob, as always.
Bob, as always.
My middle name.
Yes. And we're Precarious Pixels. We'll be talking about some stuff that we just watched and played and whatever have you. Whatever have you? That doesn't sound right.
We're both really tired.
We're both really tired. We've had long weeks. They're not getting any shorter. So the days are. We are getting into some fall weather now. I actually woke up today and it was a little bit cold when I was walking my doggy. Last week, we saw a little movie, a sequel to a movie that we've been waiting for a little while. It Chapter 2, where all those adorable kids are ugly adults. At least some of them. We saw it last week. It actually was really good. I think it might not be as much fun as the first one, but I think this one still had some quality to it. I think it was done very well. What did you think? So
one of the things that I took issue with, I thought it was good overall, but
yes.
We had talked about after we saw it that I had thought a different team had been involved in it, like a different director or something like that.
Yes.
And I was wrong.
Oh, it wasn't a different director.
It wasn't a different director.
Okay.
But there were, I think, 3 writers on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, it just had 1. And I'm thinking that one didn't quite capture the Stand By Me-ish dialogue that they had. Because when they're adults, when they're kids, whatever.
Right.
The dialogue in this one is not cute joking around, ribbing with your friends. It's all like insults.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that in the first one. Like, there was joking, and there was, being slightly mean, but not... This almost felt like bullying.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, yeah. I could definitely see that. I liked... I know they changed certain things. Definitely the turtle, again, the cosmic turtle that protects the group was still not really in it. Which, I don't know, I would have liked to have seen what that would have been like if they actually did put it in there.
I was surprised they went even that direction with the native tribe and all the other stuff that was going on. I'm surprised they even went that far.
Yeah, with the deadlights.
Yeah, and the pool of chewed.
Yeah, spoiler alert, we're going to talk some spoilers about this movie. I don't know, I think they did a good job with that part of it. But I know I actually recently rewatched the miniseries with Tim Curry.
Oof.
And honestly, Tim Curry carries that movie. Like, you couldn't have that movie without him, especially during that time. But they don't go, like, in the miniseries, they actually go more into, like, the what the characters are actually doing more, and their lives a little bit more. Like the guy who plays Bill. So Bill, like, he's a writer, and he's writing like books and turning them into movies and that kind of stuff. And that kind of like happens in the books as well. But they go more into, like, his wife comes with him, I think, at one point to Derry, like, when he goes, like, I think she tries to actually go as well. I don't remember if something happens to her or not, but I believe something, like, she goes with him.
I feel like I remember her riding the bike with him.
Maybe. I forget.
It's been forever. I haven't watched it as recently.
Yeah. And there was a whole thing, like, he even, I think, said in the movie, he says, it's fast. My bike is so fast it outran the devil or something like that.
Yeah, it's silver.
Yeah. And there is a literal part, I remember, I think Pennywise tries to get them in the house or whatever, or chase them or something, and literally he him and I think the kid who ends up killing himself escape on his bike and outrunning Pennywise on it.
Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley. But they did keep that part with Stanley.
Well, they have to.
Yeah. But they don't do the mocking thing, I think, that happens where I think they go to visit like a graveyard and Pennywise is there digging a grave for Stanley.
Yeah, I remember that scene too.
And for everybody else. And there's a whole thing where I think Pennywise attacks them at the library. Like there's some stuff that they kind of like go over. Like they don't go in depth on and stuff. But it's interesting. I thought I still think it was done very well. Some of the stuff they put in there was pretty freaky. I actually like the restaurant scene. I like that a lot where just like at the very end, like they're breaking open the fortune cookies and they're trying to figure out what the thing actually says. And it's like, Stanley couldn't cut it. Like mocking basically like his suicide, that he was so afraid he couldn't come back. And then the stuff in the fortune cookies popping out like these weird, baby-headed like monsters and like bats and like whatever else. I thought that was done pretty well. I thought that was kind of cool and freaky looking and something a little bit different.
There was a lot of cool, freaky looking stuff here.
Yeah.
I think the scene in the basement of the pharmacy.
Yeah, that was good. Rough. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this movie works fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it will ever be better. The second movie can never be better than the first.
Yeah.
Because you're going into weird territory.
Right.
And it has to end one way, otherwise it makes no sense. And that way is just kind of like face your fears.
Yeah.
And there's it's not really an epic battle, it's just there's a little bit of that. There's more of it in this one than I think in the first.
Definitely there was more of a bigger fight with Pennywise, which I think does happen that way a little bit. But they did, like, they do kind of omit things. Like, I remember the weird child orgy. That they kind of cut that out, which I thought was, not really necessary.
That was Stephen King.
I know. It was a weird time. Cosmic turtles and child orgies.
He's a wacky guy.
Yeah. And he was in this movie, by the way.
He was. When you, because kind of a spoiler, not really, for this conversation, but you had seen it already.
Yes, I had.
went to see it with you. And when you said that, there was a special cameo, I was like, oh man, cool, I'm going to look for it. And then I saw the actual director of the film that Bill was making, and that's a real director.
That is a real director.
And I was like, oh, that's a real director making this movie. I wonder if that's the cameo I was talking about. And then later on, there's a better one.
Yes, and that cameo is Stephen King himself.
Yep.
And he plays a shopkeeper, and there's a lot of comments about nobody likes the Bill's endings to his books, and that is something that is commented a lot about to Stephen King's books. Like, a lot of people do not like his ending.
I would say this book as well.
Yeah, like even like the end of it is like the real ending to the book is they all like move away and kind of forget everything that happened, and they don't like ever stay in contact again, even though they went through a whole lot of garbage.
Yeah, what was weird about this one is that they I don't remember them in the first one forgetting everything, or in the book. I never read the book.
Yeah, I think I think they do forget it. Like, that's the thing. It is like that is something that I think was in the book series, which was the farther you are away from Derry, you don't remember everything, and that's the thing that I think Mike is like. He always remembers, what happened because he never leaves. So it's kind of interesting in that way. So that is kind of like something that they did keep. But overall, I thought it was done really well. I thought the actors that they picked to play like the older versions of the kids did a really good job. Bill Hader, I think, did a great job. What's his name? James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Also did a great job. I'm trying to think who else. Jessica Chastain, I think she played a good. I can't remember the character's name right now.
Oh, now I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, but I think she played a good version of her. I mean, you don't really get a good sense of what Stanley was like, but the guy they got to play, oh, now I can't remember. Eddie. I think they got a good Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie was fun.
And I swear the guy who played Ben looked like weirdly like an older version of that kid. Which I was just like, huh, yeah, I guess yeah, it does kind of look like him. It's weird. But I thought they did a good job with all that stuff. Did you think that they played pretty well to what the older versions or the younger versions were pretty close?
I thought they all did a good job. I think they were trying to avoid falling into the trap of not letting you know why these characters are the way that they are now. I think they did a good job of that. Though I didn't like how much of this movie was those kids again. The kids were great in the first one, but they also grew up over 2 years.
Right.
And they looked a little different.
They did look a little different. And, well, not as much as, what's his name? The actor's name, I think, is like Finn Wolfhard. They did something weird. I don't know what it was, but something digitally to him.
It did seem like that, right?
I don't know what it was, but I'm guessing he hit a growth spurt or whatever.
They Professor X'd him?
Yeah, it was something like I almost feel like they made the glasses, like the eyes in the glasses bigger, and it was like I don't remember that being a thing. Like he looks really different, and the voice even like a little bit different, but really.
And you're exposed to him more because I think of all of them, he's really the only one outside of the movies that at least that I've seen in other things, in Stranger Things.
Yeah, and you see him in Stranger Things, and yeah, he had a growth spurt, and they're all like he's taller and much.
His voice changed.
Like all that stuff.
And they were probably filmed around the same time, this movie and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, digital altering is probably not the best idea. If they knew what they were doing, here's my thought process on this: they knew when they were making it, the first one, that they were doing a second one.
Right.
Why not just film one right into the other?
Yeah.
Like they had to know it was going to be a success, right?
I mean, no, because maybe they didn't think it was going to be that successful, and I think maybe that's why they reached back a little bit to do that with the kids, because I have a feeling they were thinking, oh, it's going to be all about the adults. But then they were like, oh, the first movie was so successful with like all these kid actors, we should do more stuff with like the kid actors in this movie so that people are like, oh, it's not just the adult stuff. I think that's kind of what their thinking was, and probably maybe at that time the director hadn't really planned on doing like a big pullback to see like flashbacks of the kids, like, oh, we weren't together all that summer kind of thing, and all that stuff. Like I have a feeling it maybe that was a little bit of filler that they kind of worked in, but because why not? If you knew you were going to shoot those scenes later,
Film those,
just film them and be like, well, we'll have those in the can if it's a success, because then we don't have to worry about like, oh, it's been a couple years. The kids look a little bit different. It's not going to match up completely. They should have just done that.
They should have had them not. They should have had that very last scene in the first film, and they would have been fine.
I'm trying to think.
The very last scene is all of them peeling off and going away.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
But if they hadn't had that scene, right, then they could have said, oh, this took place over the course of a year. Right? Or there was, a year later they're still around, and then everybody kind of went their own separate ways.
Right.
Because six kids, right?
Yeah, I think six. It was
six kids. Every single one of them leaves Derry, except for one. That summer, it didn't happen.
Right.
The only one that leaves definitively is it Barb? What is her name?
I think it is Barb.
Now I'm thinking Stranger Things. Anyway.
Yeah, it could be that Barb.
The girl is the only one who leaves.
Right.
Right? So why does everybody else not just have their scenes later?
Yeah.
They can explain it that way. Because they had to cut their hands and make their little pact. But they could have made their pact and then gone home for the day.
Right.
Because in theory, that's what they did.
Right.
Except for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I don't know how immediately she was leaving.
And, who's to say she couldn't have gone to live with her aunt in town there? Because she's not the one who doesn't... She's not the stranger to that town.
Right.
The only one that's the stranger to the town is Ben. He just moved there. He's the new kid.
He was the new kid. So, yeah. I'm not sure why it happened. I'm sure it'll... Beverly, yes, you're right. It was Beverly. But yeah, I'm not sure why they had it that way.
Because if they hadn't had that scene, they'd be fine.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Even if they had that scene, just say, hey, this took place the next summer, and, they had a falling out, groups fight,
yeah.
Fight.
Beverly wasn't there to kind of keep them all together.
Yeah, and her... The reason she has that scene as a kid is to find her thing,
right?
So that she had already hidden.
Yeah,
there was no reason to have that callback to her as a kid again.
You're right, and in fact, I think a lot of the stuff they showed with her was stuff that they had shot already too.
Just the one scene with her and her dad.
Yeah, I think
really weird scene.
Yeah, they added. But I think a lot of the stuff was just like her rereading the poem and all that stuff. So she didn't have too much that they had to reshoot. Or just shoot again with her. But I don't know. It just seemed I think that's maybe it's something that was a studio note, which was I think we should include more stuff for the kids.
People will forget what this is. We're calling it Chapter 2. Do they know what that is?
Yeah.
Come on, bud.
Yeah.
It was 2 years. It wasn't 20 years.
Yeah. And I think that was their thing was we don't want to just put the same footage in from the first movie. We need to actually shoot new footage for the kids. And I think that was probably their thinking.
It was a 3-hour movie though.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't need to pad it.
That's the other thing I was thinking too. That's why maybe it was a longer movie. Because you really didn't have to make that a longer movie.
No.
You could have cut.
The more interesting film is still the first one.
Yes.
I don't know. And then I'm not a huge fan of the we're not scared of you thing. I don't necessarily like the way that ended for Pennywise. I don't know. It's just dumb.
Yeah, or that they imagined him smaller, so he became smaller. That I'm not sure that entirely makes sense, but maybe I have no idea.
Because in theory, then they're just imagining him being this horrible thing all along anyway,
right?
Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
When the kid, they had the scene at the beginning that's sort of the setup for Pennywise having returned and Mike calling everyone, where a guy is the victim of a hate crime.
Right.
He just gets beat down, almost killed, thrown into a river. Is he going to imagine a clown standing at the end of that river?
Right. That is kind of the weird thing that they didn't do as much of these Pennywise appearing as other things. For Eddie, it was a diseased homeless person.
A leper.
Yes. And for Beverly, it was when they had the blood thing, which was just out of the drain, just covers the bathroom in blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't as much of that stuff. Like there was a little bit. Like they did have the part where I'm trying to think where. Well, no, they didn't have a burned out kid like in the library. I thought that there was, because remember that was Ben's thing. Like he was in the library and he saw like a burned up kid.
Yeah, in the first one.
Yeah, and Pennywise. Yeah, and Pennywise was there, but it wasn't like. It wasn't all about Pennywise. I think that was probably another thing too. They were like, well, people really identify with Pennywise. Let's put more Pennywise in.
They both. I mean, both Pennywises have been iconic for different reasons.
Yes.
The first one, he's just like a sarcastic jerk.
Yeah.
And this one, he's just super creepy.
Super creepy.
Like, weird, creepy, next level.
Yeah.
And in this one, I think the only time he really represents himself as something else is as the old lady.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the only things that they kind of did that was like just this old lady, which I think is from the book too, that like that's and I think they reference it in the miniseries too, was like it's an old lady and that she really walks out of a house that's not like it's actually run down. Like the place that she used to live is basically like boarded up. But I don't remember, it wasn't so much about her going to get like find a totem or find a something that like they needed to like represent.
Yeah, that must have been, maybe that was from the books.
Maybe that was from the books, but I don't remember them ever kind of like talking about that. But yeah, yeah, they could have like cut down a little bit of stuff in there, definitely. Overall, I think they did a really good job. It was they did add the funhouse scene
with more Pennywises.
With Pennywise smashing his face into the mirror thing. That was actually pretty good and pretty freaky. And the part where he lures the little girl with like a firefly
under the bleachers.
I thought that was done really well too, and kind of just like lets you know that it's not just like Pennywise going after these 5 people. It's Pennywise trying to get as many kids as he can.
Do you think maybe the theory is that he can't transform himself because he's weakened?
Maybe.
Or he can't do it as much? Because you can see he's got now the scarring on his head, and he's clearly not his old self.
Right. But he still comes back 27 years later. It's like he's still
feeding.
Still feeding. I mean, it could have been like he didn't feed as much before he kind of went away. But
they also almost killed him.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely it was good. I definitely they could have omitted a few parts and it would have been fine. But again, also they didn't go as in depth with the backstories with Beverly's husband and what that whole thing was, and
he's
like
clearly abusive.
Yeah, like they kind of they give you enough to kind of like let you know what's going on with her and then move on. The same with Ben. They give you enough about what he's doing, but kind of like move on. Even Bill Hader's character, they kind of like let you know that he's a pretty famous comedian and so forth. And then Eddie is just like
risk assessment.
Risk assessment. Yeah, I was trying to think. I was like, what is it? I forget that. But risk assessment, and that Bill is like a writer and so forth. No. Overall, I thought it was done well, but yeah, it would have been interesting to see if they actually could do a mini series with it, like a real mini series, like especially now that like stuff like that's going on with HBO and that kind of thing, where they take books and actually do like an 8 episodes. Like I could see that you could do 8 episodes with very easily.
Yeah, it would work.
Definitely. So overall, I always go Pennywise 2.
Pennywise Chapter 2.
It Chapter 2. What did you think?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was pretty much the best you could do with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I think they did a good job, and it definitely not as influential as the first one, but I think it'll definitely like leave its mark or whatever.
Yeah, it definitely will make money, and they'll continue remaking Stephen King things.
Yes,
forever.
I'm sure that. I think right now they're working on a Stan version
with the other Skarsgård.
Yes, and it's going to be a mini series on their CBS app. I forget what
Never mind, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I forget what it's CBS something.
All Access, I think.
All Access, yeah.
It's where they put the Twilight Zone that I'll never be able to watch because I'm not going to pay for that app.
Well, there's ways around that, sir.
Yeah, but I just won't watch it.
All right.
Because
I heard it's great.
obnoxious. Yeah, you know what?
I heard it's good.
So what? Just put it on TV. Like, what is your problem?
No.
I hate that. Like,
nope.
I understand.
That's how they get that money.
I understand giving people access to it at any given time.
Right.
With the app. I understand that. What you don't do is make exclusive content only for that.
Right.
Right? I would pay $5 a month to watch CBS shows whenever I wanted to, and they're I'm sure amazing library of old shows. Like, they probably had good shows on CBS at one point.
Sure.
Early edition, right?
Yes, I do remember like a few shows maybe I would watch on CBS, but I can't think of like any nothing I
they
really
had CSI.
needed. Yeah.
You can watch Elementary. That's a CBS show.
Right.
Right? There's a lot of shows for older people. CBS seems like the worst one to put on.
Yeah, because it's like I think their crowd is not as tech savvy.
Is Big Bang Theory CBS? I think it is. Yeah, they have all the comedy shows now.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so they have that, and they have like 2.5 Men. People will pay their $5 a month to watch that stuff.
Right.
And rational human beings.
Right.
Would just like to watch The Twilight Zone on TV.
Right.
Now, if there's a reason, maybe it's uncensored, and the CBS All Access app lets you get to the regular show, and then it's censored on regular TV. Maybe there's a reason there,
right.
Or all these Star Trek shows they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they own Star Trek, right?
They do Star Trek, and I think that Picard show they're making right now, and I think it's been successful for them because they're making. I mean, I haven't watched any of them. I think it's
Nobody's watched any of them because they're on an app.
Yeah, but I think it's like two seasons now, or they're making the second season. And now it's like they're adding Picard, which I'm sure actually will draw in more people because it's very much nostalgia, and I didn't think he would actually come back to do Picard again.
But it would just make sense to then charge people to watch it on demand and just let other people watch it on TV.
Right.
I don't know.
It does seem like a weird model, and especially like the shows that are going to be coming up for other things like the Disney Plus app. They're just going to destroy everybody else. I mean, they are really they're not only are they putting like tons of money in the movies. The Marvel movies are going to tie into these TV shows, so that's going to kind of keep things going with them. They have the Star Wars shows. Like, there's never been a Star Wars TV show, and one that probably connects in with the movies a little bit more than this.
Like, the guy Reed was in The Mandalorian. It's like a comedy guy.
Jon Favreau?
No, there was somebody else on it.
Taika Waititi?
Is he on it too?
Well, I think he's gonna be in episodes or something. Or filming
but it's
episodes.
not him, I don't think. There was somebody, I was like, what?
Carl Weathers.
Is Carl Weathers on it?
I'm pretty sure Carl Weathers is in The Mandalorian.
Maybe, but I don't think that's the person.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't think the main guy really isn't.
To be continued. I will find out who it is, and then you will say, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I forget who it is. But yeah, so The Mandalorian, they're going to do a She-Hulk show. They're going to do
Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr is going to be in The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why? Because him and Jon Favreau are friends.
How about Nick Nolte?
Well, Who wouldn't want Nick Nolte?
How about Giancarlo Esposito?
Yeah. I think he's playing isn't he the Mandalorian?
Him?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, you're talking about, what's his name? From Gus Fring. Like, Gus Fring is on this show for no reason. That's who that is.
Which, what's he playing?
Moff Gideon, or Gideon.
Okay, so he's playing like an Empire person.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping the show's going to be good.
Yeah, the guy playing the Mandalorian is Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, who's a great actor. And he was in Game of Thrones and all that stuff.
And the Kingsman, too.
Kingsman. Yeah. Which is another thing that's coming out, the Kingsman movie.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, which is strange. But yeah, so
Not
ZBS...
strange, they're good.
Yeah, they are good. But it's not even like it's called The King's Man, not Kingsman 3 or anything like that.
I know.
And it's kind of a prequel. But I'm sure it'll be good. It's got Ralph Fiennes.
He hasn't been in any of them? I guess not.
What do you mean?
He wasn't in either of the other two.
The Kingsman? No.
Yeah.
No, I think this is the first time it's going to be like an all-new cast.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor. I'm sure it'll be done well.
It'll be just like that new Robin Hood movie they made.
Oh, I hope not.
I didn't see it, so.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. But yeah, for like their Disney Plus, they're doing like tons and tons of shows. Besides Star Wars, besides like that, like even I think a couple movies are going to be on there. Like they're going to do like the Lady and the Tramp movie will be on there.
Oh, that's where it's premiering?
I think.
That's good because nobody cares.
And like there's like a holiday movie with like Bill Hader in it, like where he's like the son of Santa Claus, and Anna Kendrick is like his sister or something. It's the weirdest. Like I'm just like I didn't even know this was going to even happen. It's so strange what they're doing. But
we'll see. I mean, if their goal is to get rid of movie theaters, they're really working towards it.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think movie theaters, like, honestly, I'd still want to see that big budget movies on a big screen.
Isn't that The Irishman not even going to theaters now? Because Netflix wouldn't work out a deal.
Oh, I don't know.
So, like, the new Scorsese film will not be in theaters.
It'll only be on Netflix.
The one everybody would want to see with, like, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro. Like, this is the one about Hoffa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're just...
I thought he did a movie about Jimmy Hoffa before.
No, I don't think that was him.
Oh, okay.
There was a Hoffa movie.
Yeah, with Jack Nicholson. Yeah, I don't think he made that one, but I thought there was, like, another kind of... No, maybe not. Maybe I'm just... No, I guess not.
I think it's about Hoffa. I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big movie, and it's not going to be in theaters, apparently.
Well, did they release the Bright?
No.
Was that?
Oh, yeah, they had like a weird weekend event, and then just Netflix.
Yeah.
Same thing with another one, the blind movie Sandra Bullock thing.
Oh, the Bird Box.
Birdman.
No, that was not. Yes, Birdman box.
Alcatraz.
Yes. Cage. Birdcage. Birdcage 2.
The Kajal Bullock.
Yes. Birdcage 2, Birdman in a Bird Box.
I'd watch that.
Yep.
Just Michael Keaton with a blindfold, ranting in a mirror.
I always thought that they should do, if they ever do a Batman Beyond movie, bring back Michael Keaton to play old Bruce Wayne. I think he's talked about like he'd do Batman again. Because they're going young, they're going Robert Pattinson, which fine, whatever. But if they do, because now they are going to
fine, whatever, Tim.
It's fine. They're talking that's going to be the Long Halloween, and I really hope that that's what it's going to be.
But that also doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
Because isn't Long Halloween is a tenured Batman?
No, it's his first like big mystery.
Is it?
The first Long Halloween, because I think in the second book that they do,
Dark Victory,
is like
that has Robin, so that
right.
Could be this.
Yeah, and this is gonna be the first one where it's like he's not. This is like his first big mystery. I think even Jeff Loeb, who wrote it, said it was like that. It's like it's not year one, but it's like year two kind of thing. It's like he's still kind of new to being Batman, and like this is kind of the rise of the
everything. If this is Long Halloween, this is going to have a lot of villains. It's
all the villains coming out and like pushing down the mob, and the mob trying to push back against that, and then
is that a good? That's a great start,
right,
for building a Batman franchise if that's real.
Yes,
because you would literally have cameos from all your villains that you'd be setting up.
Right.
Because almost none of them are in it for long.
No, and honestly, they all kind of like go with the holiday, so it's like they all kind of get like a little feature.
Yeah. If they're planning on setting up a series, it's a good way to do it.
Right.
Just replace the guy you cast as Batman and you're set.
Yeah, and that's what they did.
No, that's not what they did.
Oh,
replace him.
Oh, you don't want him to do it?
Robert Pattinson?
I think he'd do a good job. I've seen him in other stuff.
You've seen him in all of the Twilight movies.
No. Well,
so
yes.
Maybe you're more.
Yes, I have seen that.
Capable.
But I've seen him in other stuff, and I think he's actually a pretty good actor. And I think
my experience
he could hold it.
Is Harry Potter.
Yes, he was great.
And I think that's it. He was not great.
He was good.
A terrible actor in that movie.
No, he wasn't. He was.
They
good.
were all bad.
Yeah.
Like all the kids.
He did a good job. He didn't have much to do in that movie except look pretty
and die.
But
get in the bathtub with Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, Moaning Myrtle.
That's a thing.
But
that's a weird scene.
Yeah, it is. Very weird. Ghost peeking on young boys. It's weird.
And that woman playing the ghost is clearly not a kid.
No, she's not. I don't think so, anyways.
No way. That girl was in her 30s.
Yeah. But I think he'll do a good job. We'll just have to see, and especially I wonder what kind of like style they're gonna go for. And now that everything's kind of like separate, they could do 20 Batman movies. They're talking about even doing a version of Batman, Black Batman, which I think that might be like something to do like Batman Beyond. I'm pretty sure that's what they're gearing up for.
So just making, what's his name?
Terry McGinnis. It could be Terrence McGinnis.
Why does it need to be different? Why can't he still be Terry?
He could be, alright.
He could Terry Crews.
Sure.
Terry Crews McGinnis.
Terry Crews McGinnis. Why not?
I would watch that movie.
I actually would watch that movie.
Terry
it would be
Crews Beyond.
It would be amazing. Yeah, and they just pretend that he's younger than he is. Like going to high school, this huge dude walking in. He's like, "Hey, everybody!"
If you look at the way he's drawn, that kind of looks like Terry Crews.
In what way?
His body shape. He's a huge upper body.
In Batman Beyond? No, he's like a skinny little guy.
No, he's got skinny legs.
True.
But he has a giant upper body.
I don't say giant, but yeah, he does have a bigger upper body.
Terry Crews upper body. You imagine?
And then he just keeps like he's walking around just putting on Old Spice as he's going.
I would watch that movie. Wait, it gets better.
Yes. Yeah.
The rest of the villains is just the cast of The Expendables.
Oh my god.
But they're all playing teenage versions.
Oh man, like teenage versions of their character. I don't think he actually even has, except for one character. I think is only like a teenage villain. Like most of his character, like his villains aren't teenagers. I don't think.
Doesn't matter. They should all be teenagers.
Just have them all be teenagers. I would watch that.
Stallone playing like a 17-year-old.
That man. You want to fight me? I'll fight you.
That's an impression. I like it.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
No, it was pretty good.
No, don't patronize me. It's
okay.
awful. But yeah, I definitely watched that.
Jet Li could be Poison Ivy.
Well, that's the thing. They're not those villains.
I know. Poison Ivy's daughter.
Well, not even Poison Ivy's daughter, I think, appears in this. It would have to be Ink or one of those ones. Ink.
I don't remember the villains for Batman Beyond.
They're actually pretty good.
Iconic.
They're not. Some of them aren't as iconic, but some of them are pretty good. Ink's kind of like a Clayface, but like a corporate raider kind of Clayface.
Stallone's kind of a Clayface.
You can do that. Yeah, they did. I remember they tried to do some original stuff with the villains, and I liked it. They only kind of carried over a few guys. I think Mr. Freeze was like the first carryover from the original animated series.
That would be Arnold.
Yeah, just have Arnold. Arnold do it again. Wonderful.
But play it the exact. Have everything be serious in the movie except for him.
Oh my god, that'd be great. Blade Runner universe with Arnold. But yeah, I think, and eventually when they did like the Joker, how they brought back the Joker a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then
wasn't that Tim Drake?
Yeah, it ended up being Tim Drake. Just like kind of like they had the flashback to like what happened and stuff. I don't know. It would be good. I think they could do like and then they could bring back Michael Keaton to do old Bruce or something like that.
I'd watch it.
I think it'd be good. They say they want to do it. And I think the standalone versions I'm liking. The Joker movie, it got apparently where it premiered this film festival. I think it was a Canadian Film Festival. Got an 8-minute standing ovation at the end. So I have high hopes for it.
Yeah, people really like the whispering guy.
Yeah. Ha ha ha. We'll see. I mean, they have a lot of good actors in this, so I'm like, it could be good. It could be decent.
Could be King of Comedy.
Could be King of Comedy.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks, I think.
What is it?
2 weeks comes out.
Is it 2 weeks already? Is it come out right before?
I think it's October 4th.
Oh, so right before New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. All right, well, we'll definitely talk about that. But before we wrap up here, you've been playing some games.
I have.
Which would you like to talk about first?
I think I can do them both pretty quick. So
okay.
Gears and Borderlands. So I played Gears.
Yes. Gears 5.
Gears 5. They left off the of war for savings.
Yes.
Because they don't call it that anymore.
No, they do not.
I guess there's a negative connotation with war that you don't want associated with Lancer machine guns with chainsaws on the bottom of them.
Or maybe they just kind of like, people kind of call it Gears. Like, I hear that a lot more, the abbreviation of it kind of.
I think it might be that, and it might also be they don't want to be associated with God of War.
Oh, that could be too.
Because their abbreviations are always GOW.
Right.
And
that's
God
awesome.
of War
is the same.
It sells better than Gears now. Last gen, maybe not.
Right.
But this gen, it does.
Definitely.
So it's really good so far. It had a rough launch in terms of connections, things like that. Resetting progress on people. If they were doing the story mode, it would just erase their saves.
Oh, wow.
Because everything's server-based, and that's...
Yeah, that has issues.
It broke Xbox Live for a night.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not selling exceptionally well. It's just doing really well because it's on Game Pass.
Right.
So how many people are just playing it for free?
Yeah, if you had a chance to, even if you're not a huge Gears fan, if you had the pass already, yeah, you probably want to check it out.
Just try it, download it. You don't like it, delete it.
Yeah, go on to the multiplayer, check it out.
Yeah, try and get good.
Yep.
But yeah, the grind is real for the multiplayer. The microtransactions are rough.
Right.
And I get that they're trying to support it if they're making it free by having more expensive microtransactions, but I really think they need to figure out a different way. Because $20 for a set of skins for guns and an outfit. Not good. Not good. Especially when it's like a not so great outfit, but the skins for the guns are cool looking, and there's not that many there to begin with, and there's only, I think, 8 or 9 multiplayer characters for each team. And they left off Cole. They left off Baird. There's no Dom.
Yeah.
Marcus is only old man with Marcus. There's no Carmine's at all. Carmine was always there. There's none of him. He's the... If you don't know Carmine, he is the character that has consistently been in every Gears of War game and died.
Oh, wow.
He's the family member. There's always like a brother.
Right. And
they always die. They usually get shot in the head and their head explodes, whatever. They die.
Right.
But they're always playable in multiplayer. Not in this one.
Okay.
But they had E3 footage that came out that showed him. So he's built and rendered.
Okay.
And they're just going to drip feed him in later. You see? And he probably would have been there at launch had it not been for the Terminator pack. Or the Halo pack.
Gotcha.
Or what just launched the other day, which was Batista.
Right.
Not as a character. Just as Batista. In Marcus's outfit.
Right. Weird.
Why?
It's almost like he kind of looks like... Batista kind of looks like Marcus a little bit.
A little bit. I don't know.
I don't know what their thinking was with that, but other than, hey, we like Batista, let's do something with him.
I guess. I don't know. Has he been in other games? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Weird. It's a weird choice.
It is a weird choice.
So, other than that, Gears 5, like, the multiplayer solid. Everything, I don't have a complaint about the gameplay.
Right.
I just have a complaint about monetization. And I paid for my game.
You're right.
I bought the whole system. So, I'm there on the front line saying, hey, you shouldn't be charging this much. If this is your future and you want people to buy your Game Pass and continue to say subscribe to Game Pass,
right,
you need to figure out a different way to do it, because if this is what Halo is going to look like in terms of monetization, if this is what the new Forzas are going to look like,
right,
Battletoads is still coming out, everything Microsoft first party is going to be on Game Pass, and they need to figure out a way to make it work without making it seem like a cell phone game.
Yeah, it definitely has that problem.
Because you can use this iron currency to buy stuff. 2,000 iron is the equivalent of $20.
Okay.
From the day I bought the game, which was a week and a half ago,
okay,
call it, till now, I have not earned a single scrap of iron. Not a single one.
Oh, wow.
But you can earn it by playing the game. And I played it, like, sufficiently to have... I would think I would have earned enough to get 1,000 by now, maybe. Not a dime.
That's really weird.
It is, and I don't like that. And then the other... I guess the other currency is scrap. And the way scrap works is you get loot boxes in the game. You can't buy them.
Right.
But they open up when you hit every level, you get one, or whatever. No, not even every level. It's weird. It's just random intervals, like whatever their tracker is for points and XP earns you one.
Right.
And if it's a repeat, you get scrap, which you can use to buy other stuff. But you can't buy character skins.
Okay.
And other stuff. Like, but you can get random... There's stuff that they give you so often that you wouldn't really care about. So, markers. Mm-hmm. When you target somebody and you select, I think you push in L3, which is the left analog stick, it puts a marker over their head, so you tag it for the other members of your team, so they can see there's an enemy there.
Right.
The markers have different shapes. So there's one that looks like an anvil. That's the one I use. It looks like an anvil is about to fall on somebody's head. And I thought that was funny.
All right.
There's a cookie. There's a face. Whatever. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
That's things you get out of boxes. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Or blood sprays. This is cool, I guess. Specific to weapons, blood sprays. So, based on execution. So, if I down somebody and execute them with my Lancer, it'll spray something on the ground that I've gotten out of a box. Now, half of the ones I've gotten have been ads for other Microsoft first-party games, which is really weird. So, I get on the ground and I punch somebody to death because I used the pistol. right?
Right.
And right there is Forza Horizon 4 in blood splatter.
That's okay.
It's weird, right?
It's weird. It's a weird marketing thing. I'm not sure why they kind of did that.
Neither am I.
But I guess let me know as you keep playing, like what you think. And you've been playing.
I've been playing Borderlands.
Borderlands 3.
I'm having a lot of fun with Borderlands. Apparently the reviewers aren't, but I think that has a lot to do with the way it was handled.
Yeah, but you said you like it. You said that the gameplay has been pretty good.
The gameplay is great. I mean, it's what you wanted out of Borderlands. It's a whole new world, actually several, but they're not really... It's just a way of dividing the map differently that it feels like it's more, in my opinion. I'm sure there'll be more. It's probably bigger, but
right.
I used to go to different territories on the planet, and they would just be big, expansive maps. In the first planet, from what I've experienced, there have been 2 areas.
Okay.
And then you go into the ship, and then you go to another planet.
Right.
In Borderlands 2, let's say, there were probably like 30 areas.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So it's just a way of dividing it differently.
Right.
That's whatever. The different characters are cool. Flak, the Beastmaster, you can choose between 3 different animals to hang out with you, and then you can change your character's specs based on whether or not you want to use the skill tree for that animal, or you can use the animal in different skill trees.
Okay.
Which I wouldn't have expected.
Right.
It's different. I haven't played the Gunner. She blows my mind. She's basically a Titanfall character.
Oh, really?
So
she's a person in a mech suit, right?
Well, her special is to call in a mech.
Right.
And get in, but you can upgrade it to then allow people, like one of your teammates, to get in there too.
Right.
But I don't usually play that explosive heavy. Right. It seems to be what she is. Then there's the Siren, who has the ability that I just unlocked to pull a giant hand out of the ground and hold the person in place so you can just keep shooting them. And then the ability that I unlocked that ties to that is to extend all your elemental damage to all of your weapons, so you can choose an element. So right now my character's on shock, so it's just constantly, every gun I shoot, every time I hit somebody, there's a chance of causing extra shock damage.
Oh, okay.
And then when you've got them held there, you tie that into extra damage by proximity as well. Like, she's just going to be, I think, a glass cannon build. She's just going to do non-stop damage.
Oh, okay.
And then there's melee. So if you go, say, extra damage by proximity, and you build into a melee build, you could be putting out extra, like, 200% damage just off of her punching people.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird in a gun game. In a looter-shooter, where you wouldn't... Typically, you're trying to find the best guns. Right. Now you're just slapping people, which never changes. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, that's good that they're maybe trying to find some different, avenues, see if people like that version of that game in that way.
I think so.
But yeah, no, that's interesting.
And then there's Zane, who just does... he can call in like a clone of himself who does damage, and you could swap between them.
Right.
Played a little bit of that, and then I changed the class over to the one that calls in a turret, or not a turret, a drone that flies around the battlefield, and it'll freeze enemies for you.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of cool. The frostbite damage in this one is ridiculous. I think people can't get out of it. At least I haven't experienced any that do. So you just freeze them and they're dead.
Okay. All right. So it's not like after like a couple minutes they thaw out or anything.
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
I don't know. I always just shoot it for good measure, but I don't think they can get out of it.
All right.
I also saw some cool stuff where my drone was freezing racks, which are basically giant bats.
Okay.
During the daylight.
Yeah.
It froze one, and then it hit the ground and shattered.
Oh, wow.
Which was cool. There's really small quality of life changes. If you haven't played 3 yet, you don't have to pick up money and ammo by pressing X anymore.
Oh, okay.
Which is massive. It's a stupid thing, but you always, or X or square, depending on what system.
Right.
You used to have to walk up and then hold down the button to pick up all the cash or ammo in the area you could pick up everywhere you went, and there's non-stop. So that change is nice, and then the ability to respec your characters almost right away is nice. So if you want to mess around with different abilities, and it's cheap. It seems like they're going to have, from what Randy Pitchford said, all the microtransactions are going to be based on cosmetics.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Which actually I think is good, because then it's just like, well, I don't necessarily have to get all this stuff to keep playing the game. Like, it's not a matter of weapons. It's not a matter of
skins. And if
skins.
If you're devoting 100 hours to a character,
right,
which you probably will be with all the DLC and True Vault Hunter mode and all this other stuff, is $5 to make them look the way you want them to a bad deal? Probably not. If you want to support that developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to make your character look good, because it's multiplayer focused too.
Right. I mean, you've already paid them for the game anyways, and this is just like bonus on top of that for them. And
there's skins you can earn. Like, I got, almost right away, I got Marcus, who's the gun runner in the game. I got a bobblehead version of his face that I can wear as a mask. With three of the three characters I played with, because you do one mission and you get that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So they've really added in some fun stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Which they always do. They usually do quality stuff for these games. They really kind of like stick in like these weird niches, like these weird things that you wouldn't even think about, but they usually end up being good. Right. Yeah. So you're liking it so far?
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I've played it a lot. Well, I played it a bit. We'll put it that way. I've been playing it a lot.
Okay. No, that sounds great. So as we're wrapping up here, we'll talk to you guys next week. Bob is going to keep playing these games.
Yeah,
anything else coming out that you want to?
I'm probably going to try the Link's Awakening remake.
Okay. All right, so we'll have a little bit of review on that when we meet next week.
Yeah, because I never had it on Game Boy, and there's Mario characters in it.
Oh, really?
It's a Zelda game.
Right.
With the Goombas.
Oh.
Piranha plants. And other.
It's weird.
It is, right?
Because they don't... I've never seen Link in a Mario game kind of thing, so...
Just like Mario Kart, but...
Yeah.
But imagine fighting a Goomba as Link.
That's... Yeah. I think it's almost kind of too easy.
I don't know if he jumps on him. I don't know. I'm excited because I never.
He's got a sword. He could slash through him.
He can. He also looks really weird.
Yeah.
If you've seen the designs for Link's Awakening, it's chibi to next level.
Yeah, and they've always kind of like they've done versions of that where they have like Game Boy kind of like versions that are kind of similar to that.
Agreed.
But we'll talk about it next week and see how you're doing with the other games. I don't know of any movies that are coming up other than the Joker one that I'm really looking forward to. But we'll probably have some other stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just remembering that finished up a series on Netflix, Unbelievable. It's kind of like Mindhunters, but based on this actual case of a serial rapist. It's got Toni Collette and some other really good actors. But we'll talk about that soon. But as always, I'm Tim. You can find me on the Instagrams at Tim Martinek. You can find Bob at...
I'm on Instagram at Bob J. Martin. It's Marton.
Okay. And you can always find us on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher, or the app of your choice that would have us. And as always, keep creating, keep going. Don't have to just take our word for it. Go out and play some of these games and watch these movies yourself. Make your own podcast.
Yeah.
But rate and review us because we love hearing from you. And remember, #it Precarious Pixels, and we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye. to do a little redesigning with us. You can find Bob at Martin, MARTON _BOB on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram at Tim Martinek, all one word, TIMMARTINEC. And you can join in us, have some fun, do your redesigns for this week's redesign. It's a lot of fun for us to do this, but we like to see fresh ideas and fresh artists like doing what they do as well. You can also hashtag it Precarious Pixels and we'll find it as well.